Alright, day one. Alright, here we are. Day one back in the gym. Alright, let's get it. I've said this before, guys, but if you want to up your testosterone levels and help your upper body, work out your legs. I have bird legs, I have soccer legs, but they help get the blood flow to be able to get a bigger upper body too. So you don't want to be those thick figure leg guys at the gym. But yeah, back in Tampa, still jet lagged a little bit, out of my regular routine, but had to get out to the gym, trying to hit. Gonna go for a 42-day streak. Let's see if I can do it. I got 42 days to decide. Well, I need to decide before then, but 42 days till my lease is up here in Tampa, so I gotta figure out what that next step is. And one of the goals I'm setting for myself is to really get back in shape, hit the gym hard after my break. One thing I want to leave you guys with today here is, guys, in life, if you don't have hope, without hope, everything seems to fall apart. However, if you hold out too long with hope for something that you shouldn't, it keeps you enslaved to it. It keeps you enslaved to the past, like wishful thinking. Kind of what was happening with the past with my ex, was hoping she'd come back or be able to rekindle something, or, you know, get closure finally, rewrite it. That hope kept me imprisoned to her, into checking her socials, into going back to that. And I'm feeling great. I have no desire to check her socials. I don't want to go back there. I don't want that anxiety. I'm still friends with her on Facebook, but I don't even care. I'm not even looking, unfollowed her. Still friends there, just to keep it platonic. But guys, just be careful when hope lies to you and it keeps you enslaved to the past. There's a point where you have to just let hope die so that you can move forward and you can fully embrace what that next part of the journey is for you. So I want to leave you with those thoughts. All right, just got home from the gym earlier tonight. I went out and got some wings at a sports bar here in Tampa. And I was talking to a gentleman who's, you know, been in a long-term relationship, and talking about all how his friends have gotten married, and about how a lot of them have felt trapped, and, you know, like they kind of rushed into something and maybe didn't truly get to know the person's character prior to marrying them, and then having kids, and then all these issues that come up later. And, you know, it's one of my, I guess, hesitations with getting married is, you know, one, finding the right person, woman of character, woman that would be a good potential mother, somebody who respects me, appreciates me, values me. But before I even go down that path, I know I need to get reestablished as a man. And that's something where I'm a little wandering right now in life, as far as what's that next step? How long am I going to be in Tampa? Should I stay here? Should I go back to California? Should I just kind of go on the road for a while? How am I going to get these programs out? How am I going to be independent? How am I going to make money when the finances are, you know, drying up? And so I'm kind of in this transition place right now where I'm a little lost. And one thing that I try to do is I help other people who feel lost, you know, some of my programs, but I go through it too. And I'm in another season stage where I'm coming off a lot of traveling, a lot of, you know, like a failed relationship, that question or not I even should have been in that relationship, right? But can't go back and change the past. All you can do is learn from it. But it's interesting because I was talking to him, and, you know, he was talking about how in his current relationship, even with somebody, he doesn't always feel valued. He doesn't feel appreciated. He doesn't, you know, get the attaboys. And he's like, I don't know if it's a cultural thing because of where she comes from, her upbringing, but, you know, it'd be nice, a little bit of appreciation. And I was like, I understand that. And as men, we need to feel valued. We need to feel respected. We need to feel peace. We need to feel like our effort is being, I would say, reciprocated, but just appreciated, valued, right? And I think that speaks a lot to us as providers, as men. And one thing that I admired about this guy, he's like going on 33, so he's about 10 years younger than me, a little over 10 years younger than me, but he seems like he's a rock, and he seems like he's very grounded, and he doesn't like to bring all of his struggles. He goes, she thinks that all she has are the struggles, but little does she know that I hold a lot of this stuff in, because I'm worried about the mortgage, I'm worried about finances, I'm worried about, all this different stuff but on the forefront, he seems very calm and steady. And I just said, well, kudos to you. That's what a man does, be a rock and provider. But those are some hard conversations you do need to have with her as far as prior to getting married is, and I don't pretend to have it all together, but it's pretty obvious. You need to find out if these are deal breakers for you and how she really feels, if it's just a cultural thing or she really doesn't value you or doesn't respect you. And I said, these are good conversations. It just sounds like they haven't had that heart-to-heart conversation. And communication is so important. Somebody's character, communication, being aligned, and then of course, not being afraid as men to speak out. Because I think as men, we stuff it in and we just kind of hold it together and let them have their day in the sun of like complaining and everything. But you don't necessarily, and he made this comment, don't want to show chinks in your armor, but there is a time you need to be vulnerable, and not to a point where they can use it against you, but to a point of like letting them know that you're human too. And that can build connection with the right person. The wrong person will use that against you. So, there's that fine line of, am I with the right person where I can share this? Am I in a safe place, or would this be used against me? And I've heard some men say, like, you never show weakness because they'll use it against you. Women are just built different, which I understand that philosophy. I don't think all women are that way. I think the right woman will come along and give you a place when you show that you're weak in an area, she'll actually bond her together to want to be able to help meet you in that area. And I think that's what a secure partner will do. But there's very few secure partners in today's society. And we were talking about the dating world and how Instagram and TikTok and all this has turned a lot of women into just thinking that they can have any guy, or maybe they slept with some football player or basketball player, professional, and now they think that's their bar. And it's like, guys, sadly enough, it's like, it's about, for women, the bar should be how many men actually want to marry you and commit to you. And that shows your true worth. Because a lot of guys will take what they can get, and women have their pick of the litter, even with professional guys. But the question is, how many do they really want to commit to? So different standards. I'm going a little bit off on a rabbit trail. Other than this, is the dating life, it's tough. It's tough to even want to get out there, especially being 44 now. I haven't made much of an effort on that here in the States anymore. I don't feel like I'm in a place where I'm in a position to bring somebody into my life because I'm not fully stabilized with where I want to be. And so I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm a little lost right now. I need to do a lot of soul searching and seeking God and praying and realizing that, traveling, one of my purposes and goals was to have time, money, location, freedom. But when you do that, you're still going to have those same issues come up. You're going to still have the same loneliness. You're going to still have relationship issues. You're still going to have people who are unfaithful or who don't value you. That's something I found out in my travels too. And so kind of back to a place where I have a purpose to continue to build my programs, but a reevaluation stage as far as what's most important, where do I see myself, and then just kind of really going back in and doing some soul searching. So I'm in a soul searching place now that the aura of the vacations and the traveling has wore off. So I'll just be vulnerable with you guys. If you guys can relate to this, I'm sure there's a point where you can reinvent yourself. And after I met with that guy and just had wings, met him randomly, just at a sports bar, went over to the gym. I thought, okay, this is something productive I need to start doing for me and get into routine. And now, it's going to be interesting because I am kind of in that stuck, don't know quite where to go from here stage. And finances are getting tight. My lease is up in like 42 days. I could extend it or not. And so I'm in that place where this is going to be a good case study on me to see where I land up. And it could be different for you because you have different goals. Maybe you already know what you want. Maybe you have responsibilities of children and an ex or whatever. But for me, it's just me and this little man right here. And so he's easy to take care of. So this is going to be a vulnerable case study as far as, yes, I want to try to go on a 42-day streak at the gym, do that for me, get back in shape, but also kind of figure out what the next steps of my life are and what my purpose really should be and what my why is. So hope you enjoy the journey with me, guys. This is where it's going to get real.